G'day guys, Luke here. Welcome back to another video. In today's guys, we are doing the Reptile update for April 2026. We are starting with my Gibson War Dragon enclosure. So this enclosure is outside, so it's getting all the natural elements. Now this enclosure is 180 centimeters by 90 by 90 centimeters. From the outside, we've got some tarp to provide some shade, some fans to promote airflow. But the enclosure is mostly made of aluminium tubing and framework, as well as some wooden boards to get in and out in the enclosure. From the inside, we have a nice pond for them to go into. Now, last time I was cleaning the pond out, I did crack it, so I had to put a pond liner inside of it to, hold the water. You'll have sands as substrate, branches, rocks, hides, foam backing, a hot box, a hammock for the guys to hang out on. So far they're enjoying the house. They've been in for about 6 months now, I think. Let's have a close look at these beautiful animals. So the first one we're checking out is Lime. Now Lime is a very easygoing female. 9 times out of 10 she'll stay out as I walk past the enclosure. She'll only run and hide when I enter the enclosure, but for the most part she's quite confident. However, the other 4 decided to hide today, so let's go through them. So the big buffy head one there is Bruce on the left. He doesn't like me that much. He'll usually keep me about arm's length. We have a new girl in here. Now her name is Jade. Still figuring out her personality, but she is hard to catch. Then we've got Gamora, who's just on the right hand side there. Very shy lizard, doesn't like me whatsoever. Then the beautiful girl sitting right in front of me is Shigo. She's alright, pretty shy for the most part. She'll come out during the morning. The rest of the day she spends in the hot box basically. Making our way back indoors, and for the second segment we'll be starting in the snake room. This enclosure we're looking at right now is 120 centimeters. It houses my ridge-tailed monitor Roseu. Now his setup, we have sands as substrate, branches and a fake rock stack he can climb onto, fake plants, a water bowl. The hide on the right hand side there, the sandy side of it are wet down, so it provides a bit more of a tunneling opportunity for him, as well as humidity. We've got his heat just above him on the left hand side there with his UVB. Here is a little bugger here. He's a little shy, but he will come up to me to see if I have food. If food is not present, he will often run and hide. Now I believe he's a runt because he hasn't grown much at all in the last year. But saying that, he's relatively healthy and I still love him regardless. Above Roseu, we've got a pair of 60 centimeter enclosures to go through. The one on the left hand side houses a male spotted python named Caesar. Then the one on the right hand side houses my little children python named Valentino. Now both enclosures have aspen bedding as a substrate, multiple hides, a water bowl, branches for them to climb up onto, fake plants and backing to decorate the enclosures. They share a light strip, and with both enclosures to the left hand side we do have a heat pad underneath the enclosures, providing warmth, while the other side provides coolness. Here's a better look of Caesar, the male spotted python. Now for the most part I leave him be, as he likes to be left alone. Usually with him in the cage as well, because he doesn't like being disturbed. However, on the rare occasion he'll come out and let me hold him. Saying that though, I don't fully trust him because he does have a bit of attitude. Moving over to his neighbour Valentino, who's the little children python. Unfortunately he's in shed, so he's not showing his true colours here. Now with Valentino here, he's a bit of a cheeky one. He likes to bite me any chance that he has. I guess takes after his father, and he really loves his food. On the top shelf we've got 2 70 centimeter enclosures to go through that houses my 2 brown tree snakes, Willow and Diablo. Willow's on the left, Diablo's is on the right. Now both brown tree snakes have aspen bedding as a substrate, which is a common theme with my snakes. We've got multiple hides for them to go into, fake plants, branches for them to climb onto since they are a tree snake. Then a backing that I incorporated little cave system for them to go into, as I really like that. They have a heat pad that they share in the middle of the enclosures, and they've got a light strip that pretty much they share with half the room. So I'm pretty happy how these cages turned out when I made them at the time, and I'm glad both snakes are loving them. The one we're looking at right now is Willow. Now I didn't want to disturb her, as she can be quite feisty. If I were to poke her and annoy her, she will literally bite me on the face. In the cage she's defensive, but once I get her out she's not too bad. A little whippy, but we're working on that. And eating regularly at the moment, which is great, because I would like to see her bulk up a bit more before winter really settles in. Here we have my beautiful boy Diablo, a very calm, sweet little brown tree snake who I trust with just about anybody, as I know he won't bite him. And with Diablo, he will eat all year round, which is fantastic. He'll have to have 3 fuzzy mice to feed, so no issues with him whatsoever. From one top shelf to another, the enclosure we're looking at right now is a 100 centimeter enclosure that houses my breeding pair of children pythons, Aaron and Emma. Yet again, what the aspen bedding is a substrate, a water bowl, backing, fake plants, branches, a light strip, the heat element, a fake rock stack, and hides from these two to go into. So Aaron and Emma, who we have right now on screen, polar opposites. So Emma is the one on the right hand side, he's a troublemaker. Then the one on the left hand side is Erin. Beautiful girl, loves her food and she loves to cuddle. But every time I'm trying to get her out, Emma is coming over to cause chaos. So thanks, buddy, for giving me ice cream headaches every time I get her out. On the same shelf, we've got a 19cm enclosure that houses Superstar and Graham, my two female blind spotted pythons. These two beautiful girls I've had for about 16 years now, so they are my oldest reptiles we have in the family. So in the enclosure, look at the bedding, water bowl, branch, a rock, a bit of bark, fake plant. 3 hides for these guys to go into, a backing with a heat and a light. Here they are very close up. So the girl decided to disappear off screen now is Superstar. She's my first ever reptile. Still going strong considering she hasn't eaten in over a year. Then Graham's the other one, just I guess tangling around with her. She's still eating at this time of year. She probably got her food in the next couple of weeks or so, because normally during winter she goes off food. However, both girls are still going strong after 16 years. The next 2 enclosures we are going to cover off are both 180 centimeters. So we cover off the second one, just keep that at the back of your mind. The one we're looking at right now is my black-headed python's enclosure named Chris. So in her enclosure, look at the substrate, 2 monster hides as she's pushing about 8 feet long. We've got a water bowl, branch, fake plant, backing, light, and the heat to the far right there. Here she is in all her glory. Now when I first got Chris, she could fit in the palm of my hand. Now her head's the only thing that'll fit in my hand. That's how big she is now. Now when there's no food around, she's an absolute sweetheart, very cuddly. I will trust her. However, when you have food mixed, she becomes very unpredictable and she'll hit like a ton of bricks. Getting bitten by her is not fun. She's gotten me a couple of times at this size. And yeah, she was a struggle to get off, but luckily she did let go. Down below her, we do have Ray, who is my Rosenberg monitor. Like I said, another 180cm enclosure. In his house, we've got sand as a substrate, a branch, hammock, water bowl, a hide in the far right there, heat and UVB. Now, he will be going outside soon, still figuring out how to do his enclosure properly so he doesn't get out. So his outdoor enclosure will be 180 centimeters by, I think, 90 by 120 centimeters, around those dimensions. What he's in now is 180 by 60 by 60, so it'll be twice the size of what he's in now. This is him right now, just hanging out, just watching me filming him. He had a feed just before, or just after, sorry, just before I did the videos. That way he didn't come over and try to rip my fingers off, thinking I had food. We're still working on the taming process. There are days where he's, pretty mellow. There are days where I've got to be careful because he will bite me. And I'd rather get bitten by Chris than get bitten by Ray. For those who are new to the channel, unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, we lost one of my diamond pythons named Aurelia. Now, Aurelia passed away quite suddenly. I don't know why he passed away, and I'd rather not know. Atram's still kicking though, considering he's got a nasty lump on top of his head. Now, I have taken him to the veterinarian a couple of times now, and unfortunately they have said there's nothing much they can really do, apart from keeping an eye on that lump. Good news is Atram is still eating, but yeah, it's touch and go. So the enclosure just then, I should have mentioned, is 120 centimeters, newspaper, a couple of hides, branches, fake plants, backing, UVB and heat. Here's a close shot of Atram just hanging out on his favourite branch. You can see that lump just on the left hand side of his head there, so it's not looking good for him. So I'll keep you guys posted on how his condition goes, probably the next month or 2. Above Atram, we do have a pair of central carpet pythons named Chappie and Orchid. They are also housed in a 120cm enclosure. Got the substrate, we've got the nest box in there still because I do find these two like to sit on top of it from time to time. Water bowl, branches, just a display light on top of the enclosure, heat, a proper hide to the left hand side there with a couple of fake plants hanging around to add a bit more decoration. Chappie, my male Centralian, has gotten a lot better. He had respiratory infection around the same time I discovered Atram had his lump. Here's Chappie here, looking quite happy. He's eating again, which is fantastic. He was on and off for a long time there. So for him to bounce back is positive news at least, considering what's been happening with the diamond pythons as of late. Orchid, his beautiful girl, still going strong as ever, smashing food. When I get her out to feed her, oh crikey. She's a handful, but she was just peeking out of a hide here when I was filming. Didn't want to disturb Chappie because he looked quite happy. We want a happy Chappie. But Orchid here, as always, was planning something in a way. Making our way into the lizard room, where there's some slight rearranging from last month. The Cunningham skinks are now on the top shelf, and the she-oaks are now where the Cunninghams were. So Cunninghams are named Toothless and Meatlug. They're both housed in 60 cm enclosures. In the enclosures, we've got the aspen bed as a substrate, a fake rock stack they can kind of scurry into and use for cover. There is a proper hide in there too to add a bit more protection for them. We've got a food bowl, water bowl, a heat pad that both share, and a UVB LED light bars on top of the enclosures. We go into the she-oaks just underneath them. That white enclosure on the right hand side is 50 centimeters. That has its 3 she-oak skinks, who we get to in a moment. Then the 6 other ones, which are the black ones, has 1 she-oak in each enclosure. In each enclosure, we've got the coconut fibre as a substrate. Bit of sphagnum moss in here to hold a bit of moisture. Hides, got food bowl, water bowl, and as well they've got a heat cord that runs through the shelf to keep them warm. And they've got the LED UV light bars on that shelving currently. Here's a close-up of Meatlug. Now Meatlug here is a very shy Cunningham, so it's actually nice to see him out for a full minute here, getting him on camera, because oftentimes he likes to hide. Now, he doesn't like me very much. If I were to go in and try to grab him, he will bite me. And I'll be honest, out of everything I've been bitten by in my life, Cunninghams are the worst. He gave me such a bad bite. Then here's his Toothless. He's a sweetheart. I've raised him since he was a baby, so we do have a bit of a bond, a bit more trust there. Don't get me wrong, he's still shy, but at least I can pick him up knowing he won't bite me unless I really annoy him. I can pick him up and he's pretty easy going. So this is a better look of his enclosure, which is similar to Meatlug's. Then this enclosure here, we've got Ghost, Gum and Jara. So it's a bit of a mission to find all 3 of them. So here's Gum. Now Gum is the friendly one. However, she likes to poo on me. It's got a nice thick tail, bit of an interesting coloration to that one. Then who we got underneath this hide? I think this was Jara. Yeah, Jara's a very sweetheart, very shy, a very low profile lizard, doesn't cause me too much issues. However, the last one, Ghost, my goodness, acts like, I'm trying to stab him in the way he acts on sometimes. Out of all the she-oaks, he's the most aggressive, so I didn't want to really tick him off in this video. You can see there he's tongue flicking, ready to start something with me. This next one we're looking at here, this was, which one is this, sorry, Pearl. Very beautiful little she-oak, very easy going. It's very excited when I come over with food, but today she's decided just to hang out in the sphagnum moss. Then we'll go over to her neighbour, which is Callisto, another beautiful little she-oak. This one, I believe this is the one that got attacked by, I think, Jack. There was a couple of fights breaking out. No, Elizabeth was attacking Callisto when I had all these guys housed together. This one here is Will. Will's a very cheeky little she-oak. He's one of the bigger ones, very unique in his coloration with a bit more red in him. But yeah, he'll sometimes just come over, see I've got food. If not, you go, see you later, mate, sort of thing. Jack, however, he gives me a hard time. If I stick my finger in his face, he will bite me just out of spite. So I think he is the next Ghost. But at least he's a bit, not as, how can I say it, dramatic about me coming into his house and disturbing him. But today they're all pretty much asleep, so they didn't care less. This one here is Davy, a very easygoing she-oak. Always seeing what I'm up to every time I'm in the room. Doesn't mind a little scratch, as you can see here. Just wanted to see me saying g'day. Very long little guy though. They're pretty long little she-oaks. Then probably the more cuter one here is Barbosa. Very secretive little skink, doesn't come out often. But when he does come out, it is a working sight. So lately he's being more confident, which has been great. But these 2 tubs we're looking at here houses my 2 spine-tailed geckos, Charcoal and Luna. Charcoal's house is on the right-hand side, sorry, left-hand side. Luna's is the right. Sand as a substrate, 2 hides, a water bowl, branches for these geckos to perch on over night time or daytime, whatever they want to do. Fake plant for Luna. So this one here, I'm pretty sure is Luna. A very sweet little gecko. She doesn't mind being handled, loves her food. Beforehand I was giving her small crickets, but she was craving medium, so gave her bigger crickets, which she loves hunting down and eating. Then her partner in crime is Charcoal, a very shy little gecko. Don't see him out often, and if I wasn't paying attention here, he could have jumped off and disappeared basically. So I'm going to be very careful when I do hold Charcoal, because he is a jumper. This enclosure right here is a 120 cm enclosure that houses by a pair of shinglebacks, Monty and Anastasia. So in their enclosure, we've got the aspen bedding. You can probably tell this is my favourite substrate at this rate. Got a food bowl, water bowl, 2 hides for these guys to go into if they need a bit more privacy or just a bit more darkness to sleep, because these guys love sleeping. Backing, heat and UVB. Here's a closer look of these beautiful shinglebacks. So the one on the left hand side here, this is Anastasia. She's the female, very beautiful. She doesn't mind a good old head scratch. She'll come over sometimes to see what I'm doing. She's a bit more social than Monty, where I can pick her up, hold her, even though sometimes she may end up peeing and pooing on me. I don't know why, but shinglebacks just do that by nature. They just like to poo on people. They don't bite, just like to poo on me or people in general. Don't know why. Then this is Monty, very shy little shingleback. Tends to keep to himself. He gets a bit annoyed when I disturb him, so I'll make this quick. But he's doing fine, as you can see. He was just having a bit of a nap before I shoved the camera in his face. On the shelf above Monty and Anastasia, we've got Akko, who is my female Eastern War Dragon. So in my family, I do have the Eastern War Dragon and Gibson War Dragons. So there are 2 subspecies of War Dragons here in Australia. Now Akko here is housed in a 140 centimeter enclosure. In her enclosure, we've got the coconut fibre as a substrate. The hide, branches, bit of logging here for to climb onto the Bascon, a fake plant. Her diva sign, because she is a diva of the household. Food bowl, water bowl, backing, heat and UVB. And today when I was filming her, she was giving me attitude. Look at this. She was head bobbing, hand waving. This is not normally what she does to me, but I must have done something to really tick her off today. And she's showing her displeasure with me by showcasing her territorial display. So head bobbing, a little bit hand waving here. And when I went to pat her, she went to bite me. So very uncharacteristic of Akko, but as we're doing this voiceover, she has calmed down. On the top shelf, we have Dusty, who is my black-headed monitor. He's also housed in a 140 centimeter enclosure. Unlike Akko's enclosure, where she has the coconut fibre, he has a sands substrate. 2 hides on the ground there, so he can have some ground cover. Food bowl, water bowl, croc skull. There's a fake plant in here, branches, a backing, heat and UVB, and 2 hollow logs that he can retreat into if threatened. Normally with this guy, he likes to hide in between the top of the cage or the light bar, or in today's video, he's decided to hang out in his log. Still very touch and go with this animal, very shy, very skittish, which is kind of the nature of the black-headed monitors, I find. However, we are working with him slowly. I'm getting to the stage now when I'm going to give him his fuzzy mice. He will actually take him off the tongs, which hopefully means he's starting to get the idea of me no longer being a threat and can work with him more better. Now to the other side of the room, where we have a pair of 127 enclosures that has 2 Eastern Blue Tongue skinks. We've got Billy on the ground and then Bo on up above I should say. Both enclosures identical to set up. We've got the snake bedding, a hide each, food bowl, water bowl, backing, the UVB. The only difference is the heat. Billy has a heat pad while Bo has a heat element. So I think the first blue tongue I did cover off here would be Billy. Now Billy was a rescued blue tongue when I first got her. She's since thrived being in our care. So special thanks to Mum. She did pretty much all the bulking on her. I just make sure she was alive basically. But she's doing fantastic. She's a heavy little blue tongue, but still a beautiful blue tongue. Then on the top we've got Bo. He was my first ever lizard. Unfortunately, he and his brother didn't get along when they were younger. Well, for 10 years we were fine, and one day they decided to fight. Unfortunately, last year we lost Bluey. So we've had Bo since then, and pretty much he was my first lizard. So it's still great to have Bo. I think it's been about 14 years I've had him now. So yeah, he's doing strong. Hopefully I'll have him for another 14 years. Things start to get a little bit tricky up here on the upper shelves on this rack system here. So we've got a 90 centimeter enclosure that houses my lowland blotched blue tongue Blaine, who we'll get to in a moment. Then we've got 2 50 centimeter enclosures, one in the white, one in the black. Then a 30 centimeter enclosure right in the middle of those 2 on the top shelf there. So we've got Sui the sand swimmer in that white enclosure. Elizabeth, another Shiro skink in the middle there. Then we've got a pair of baby Gibson war dragons in that other enclosure. But let's have a closer look at Blaine's enclosure. So we've got the aspen bedding once more as the substrate. Food bowl, water bowl, backing. 2 hides as Blaine's a shy little blotched blue tongue. So we gave her a bit more cover. We've got a heat pad and UVB light bar. Here she is, very shy little blue tongue, but today looking very confident, looking quite happy. So when she's out and about, it's a great sign that she's happy. When she's hiding, she may be a bit scared, so we'll leave her be. Upper top here, we're going to Sui's enclosure, which like I said is 50 centimeters. Her enclosure, we've got Sansa substrate where she can burrow into. She shares a heat mat with Elizabeth. There's 2 hides in there for her to go into: water bowl, bark, backing, and her fake plant there. Just add a bit of decoration. She's a cheeky girl, this one, so she'll like to hide in this hide here. She's quite a chunky girl, loves her food. She'll come over at night time and just feast. So every time I drop crickets in there, she'll come out of her little hiding spot and decide to go on the attack, go for the hunt. It's very entertaining to watch her hunt, this girl. I can't forget about Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth is our last share skink, I promise. We only have 10 of these guys in the family. Her setup is pretty much identical to her siblings. Unlike her siblings, she is a bit more shy. I don't see her out often. The only time I see her out and about is when she wants food. But every time I walk past her enclosure, she does start off underneath this bit of bark or in that hide. But her neighbours, who are named Tinsel and Belle. So the one closest to us is Tinsel. She was born on Christmas Day. She's the eldest. And Belle, the one in the back there, was the last one to hatch out. She was born on Boxing Day. So these two are 2 baby Gibson War Dragons. Housed in a 50-centimetre enclosure. So we've got sand as a substrate, a hide, a bit of timber there. You can see that they will sit on to bask. And a water bowl. Smashing food, which is mostly crickets. I might get them onto dog food very soon. Onto 2 more 60-centimetre enclosures. The one on the left-hand side houses my pink-tongued skink named Pedro, who we'll get to in a moment. Looking on the right-hand side, this is Thumper. He's my Gigi skink. Now his enclosure, we've got sand as a substrate, fake rock stack, a proper hide just in the middle there, food bowl, water bowl, a mushroom ornament, backing, heat, and UVB. I don't know what's happened to Thumper. He used to be pretty easygoing. Now he doesn't like me very much. He sometimes challenge my authority, trying to bite me, and becomes a bit more of a cranky bummer. Or cranky bug, I should say. But I still love him. He loves our mum though, so that's a good thing. But yeah, that's all about Thumper really. We'll chuck it back over to Pedro. Now with Pedro's setup here, we've got the aspen bedding as a substrate, 2 hides on the ground there, a food bowl, water bowl, fake plants, a branch, heat, a light strip on top of the enclosure, and a backing. Now incorporated into the backing is a little cave system that he will use. I'm quite proud how that looks. Very functional too, and he likes it. Speaking of the devil, here he is. Now Pedro's a very shy little pink-tongued skink, being more of nocturnal species. Believe it or not, pink-tongued skinks and sheo skinks are actually related in the skink family. So in a way, you can kind of see the resemblance there with the long body and the shy attitude. But for the most part, Pedro's doing fine. He'll eat when I'm sleeping, and when I wake up, there's no food bowl. No food in his food bowl, so he's fine. We have finally made it to our last animal of this update. Here we have Aurora, who is another diamond python, this one being a young female. She's housed in a 60-centimetre enclosure. So in her enclosure, we've got some bedding, water bowl, branches, her hide, backing, her UVB, and a heat pad. Let's have a closer look at this girl. Now with Aurora here, she's doing fantastic. It is a bit of a bummer with the other 2, what's happened. You know, losing Aurelia and Natrum having that lump. Because the idea was to eventually breed diamond pythons if Aurora turned out to be a female. Unfortunately, we lost Aurelia, who was a high yellow male. Hopefully, Atrum does come good from his little lump on top of his head. Hopefully, that's nothing major, but we'll have to see what happens there. If I end up losing him too, then I want to can the idea of breeding diamond pythons and just have Aurora as a pet. She's a pet regardless, but there was something I wanted to do was to breed diamond pythons, as you don't see them much in the hobby these days, which kind of sucks. But hopefully we get some positives out of these. But anyway guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you all watching to the very end, and I'll see you all in the next video.